beat the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Yo, what's going on? Welcome to, I don't even know what episode of Sports and Bullshit we're on. Took the week off again last week. Like I said, another slow sports week. Not a lot really happening out there. Some more stuff about the Richie Incognito, Jonathan Martin. Some more free agents signed in baseball. The thing I'm happy about, Dolphins re-signed cornerback Brent Grimes, one of the 5 best corners in the league. So I decided to keep it simple this week, try to keep it a little bit shorter. As we lead up to the baseball season, I'm going to go over each division, some teams. If people ask me to go over the teams, I'll go over it. So I figured I'd start out with my team, which everyone knows obviously is the New York Metropolitans. I'm not an optimistic Mets fan. I haven't been. They've given me no reason to be. You know, when your team is a New York team that won't spend. Their payroll's $87 million. They got a lower payroll than the fucking Kansas City Royals. It doesn't give me a lot of room to be optimistic. But just a couple things I'll go into here. The Mets are projected, the Las Vegas betting odd is 73 wins. So let me go over my opinion on the team. They have a very, very good pitching rotation. If not for the injury to Matt Harvey and him missing what is going to be the most of the season, you could argue this is a top 10 rotation. But without Harvey, it's kind of hard to argue. Now you have Jonathan Nice, who's probably your opening day starter. He was your opening day starter last year. A very solid, underrated left-handed pitcher with a very good curveball, mid-90s fastball. Zach Wheeler, rookie who came up last year, not a rookie anymore. He's came over in the Carlos Beltran trade, showed a lot of promise, very highly touted. Dylan G, who was one of the best pitchers in baseball last year in the second half of the season, is going to be your number 3, maybe even your number 4. And then free agent signing Bartolo Colon will be in the rotation as well. Bartolo Colon finished second in the American League in ERA last year. A lot of PED stuff that goes around Bartolo Colon. He did serve a 50-game suspension 2 years ago. He is a rather fat man, but he is a very effective pitcher. And he's moving to the National League, which it should play to his strengths, and he's going to be playing with a very good outfield defense. Now, the 5th starter is kind of up in the air. It's going to come down to John Lannon, Daisuke Matsusaka, or Henry Mejia. And out of those 3, I would prefer Henry Mejia because I don't like Japanese pitchers or players. John Lannon, I think he'd be a very good long man. And Henry Mejia, he's young. He showed a lot of promise last year in his time in the rotation before he got hurt. But the truth is, it should be Noah Syndergaard. Noah Syndergaard is one of the pitchers that came over in the trade with the Blue Jays when we gave them R.A. Dickey. And he's listed as one of the 3 best pitching prospects in all of baseball. Now, if he is the best pitcher in camp, in spring training, better than Wheeler, Nice, G. Colon, how is he not here on opening day? I don't need to hear about keeping him under team control for 1 extra year, innings limits. This is a New York team. Spending and paying these guys should not be a problem. If he goes out there and he gives up 2 earned runs all spring training, the guy is 6'6", 250, throws high 90s, devastating curve, devastating change, and they say he has the same kind of makeup, that mental makeup like Matt Harvey, where he's mentally tough and he's not going to get startled by anything. He needs to be there opening day. So right now it looks like he'll be up with the team in July probably. And at that point, his innings limit, he's going to be shut down in August, early September. That's just doesn't make sense to me. I don't believe in this innings limit stuff. Let the guys throw. It threw off Strasburg. It looks like it may have thrown off Harvey. Just let him pitch. And he should be here opening day because in baseball, if you get off to a hot start, it does make all the difference. So if you have 1 extra very, very good arm in your rotation, if you go out and you at the All-Star break, you're 5-10 games above 500, that puts a guy like the Mets GM Sandy Alderson in position to make a trade and give this team a little more confidence. So he needs to be there. And I don't need to hear bullshit about controlling him for 1 extra year before he becomes a free agent. This is a New York market, and we should not be worrying about those kind of things. Now, the other things you got to worry about with the Mets is who's going to be your opening day first baseman. Is it Lucas Duda? Is it Ike Davis? Neither of them had very good years last year. Ike got sent down to the minors at one point, and he came back, and he did hit a lot better, and he wasn't striking out as much, but the power wasn't there. Duda is good for, 15 to 20 home runs, but he hits solo home runs or 2-run home runs. And so to me, it comes down to who is going to give you a better defense, and that's Ike Davis. I think whoever doesn't get the job is going to end up being trade bait. So I don't know who would really give up what for him. If you really wanted to get anything back for them, you're going to have to package them with a couple other players from the minors. So I think it's got to be Ike Davis. And you'd hope that you get that production you got from him in the second half of 2012, where he finished with 31 home runs, 92 RBIs. If that happens, there's a lot better things for the team going on. But that doesn't really shore up what's going on in the infield. You have David Wright at the hot corner who, David Wright's great. He's going to be good for 20, 25 home runs, a 300 average, 90 RBIs. You got Daniel Murphy at second who had a very good year last year. But who's your shortstop? Is the team really going to roll with Ruben Tejada, who they've done nothing but badmouth the last 2 years, the kind of shape he's in, the fact that this guy in his best season, he batted 289, but he had 31 RBIs. He's got 2 career home runs. I don't need my shortstop to be, 15 to 20 home runs, but damn, hit me like 5 or 6 a season, drive in like 40, 50. Which brings me to signing Stephen Drew, who is still a free agent. Once again, New York market, and our payroll is $87 million, the 7th lowest in baseball, and we can't give $10 million, $12 million a year to Stephen Drew. I don't care if we make the playoffs this year, because even with him, we probably don't. But give me the best team possible, the best team that you could buy. I'm not saying give him $20 million or 5 years or anything, but the guy is better than Ruben Tejada. He's a fantastic defensive shortstop. He is good for 10 to 15 home runs. He is good for 50 to 60 RBIs, and he's good for a 260 to 280 batting average. Why can't we bring him in? Because his contract demands are too much? I agree that I have to give him a contract if he wants a 2-year deal or a 3-year deal with an opt-out after the first year just so he can dick us over. But the fact that they don't want to give him this extra money and they didn't want to give Johnny Peralta this money, who is better. And the other prospect for shortstop is trading with the Seattle Mariners for Nick Franklin, a very young shortstop second baseman who they don't really have room for now. I know that my friend Bran, who runs Mariner blog, check them out on SoundCloud. He said very good things about Nick Franklin, and everyone says he's a plus offensive player, an average shortstop. So what's Ruben Tejada? He's a pretty good defensive shortstop, not great, not even really good. And Nick Franklin is supposed to be a pretty good defensive shortstop and a very good offensive shortstop. So trade for one of them. If you give me David Wright, then Nick Franklin, Daniel Murphy, and then probably Ike Davis at first base, your third baseman, shortstop, and second base offensive situation is pretty good. Last year, they had no offensive situation at shortstop, and they really didn't have one at first base. So if you get like double the production out of Ike Davis, that's better. And if you can get pretty good production at shortstop, your infield's pretty good. Which brings me to Travis d'Arnaud. So much of this team hinges on Travis d'Arnaud's production. He was the big piece that came over in the R.A. Dickey trade, and he's still considered one of the best catching prospects in all of baseball. Teams love his swing. He's one of the best in the league at framing pitches. He actually finished last year in a small sample size, second behind Yadier Molina when it came to getting called strikes that were pitches out of the strike zone because of how well he frames them. But if he can give what scouts project, 15, 25 home runs, 80 so RBIs, that really kind of changes the dynamic of the team because you haven't had that kind of production behind the plate in a long time. And that can make up for a lack of production at shortstop or at first base. So, but which leads me to a kind of thing about the lineup. Who's your leadoff hitter? Eric Young was great as a leadoff hitter when he came over in the trade. But he's the fourth outfielder, backup second baseman probably. Because your outfield, which is a fantastic defensive outfield, is Chris Young, Juan Lagares, one of the best defensive center fielders, and Curtis Granderson. You don't really know what kind of offensive production you're going to get from Young and Lagares. You hope Young is good for about 18, 25 home runs. Lagares, he's going to save more runs, and he's probably going to produce. But if d'Arnaud can make up for that, catching is not a premier offensive position like it used to be. So if he can make up for that, that really changes the dynamic of the team and the lineup. So I really don't know who's going to be the leadoff hitter, but it is an important thing to consider. If Lagares can, get his on-base percentage up a little bit, get it to the 320, 330 mark, that's a really good thing for him and for the team. But I really don't know. That's one that I'm going to have to see play out as well. And the other thing to really consider with this team is the bullpen. Bobby Parnell's your closer, who was very good last year until a neck injury, and he had to get surgery on his neck. And you'd expect him to continue the same. Scott Rice was with the team last year, lefty specialist, very good against lefties. And then there's a lot of unknown things. Who's your long man? My guess would be if John Lennon doesn't win the fifth spot, he's going to be your long man for mop-up duty and things like that. And, spot starts. This is a pretty young bullpen, actually. The only two players on the team in this bullpen that were born before 1986 are Kyle Farnsworth and Scott Rice. Farnsworth and Jose Valverde were brought over the minor league contracts. You don't really know what to expect from either of them. A lot of scouts are saying they like what they've been seeing from Valverde. And Leland still says he doesn't think it was a matter of him losing it. He thinks that he just needed to get his control back. And then Vic Black is another piece that came over when we traded Marlon Byrd. So I don't know what to expect from him, but scouts like him a lot. This bullpen hasn't been good in years. It's the one thing Sandy Alderson really has not figured out. And I'd say last year alone, the bullpen contributed to at least five losses for Matt Harvey alone when he should have had wins. He could have easily been, 18 wins, 15 wins minimum, but the bullpen blew it. And which also, other things that were blown for the team was piss poor management by Terry Collins, Mets manager, who I'm not a fan of either. Not good bullpen management, not good decisions with hit and runs, when to steal, things like that. So it's a lot of unknowns. Like, this is a team that really, if everything breaks right, they're still not a playoff team. You don't have a true ace yet. You would hope it would be Harvey if he was here. And as I said, the Vegas projection here is 73 wins. I'll take the over. I think they're about a 78 win to 80 win team. And like I said, if everything broke right for them, they would be a playoff contender. But when does anything ever break right for the Mets? I wish I knew. Like in 2006 at Game 7, you think everything's breaking right. Andy Chavez makes his amazing catch to rob a home run. And then Yadier Molina hits one to go ahead. And then Carlos Beltran goes down looking at the curveball from Adam Wainwright. Nothing ever breaks right for the Mets. They're a cursed team in so many ways. And it is really frustrating as a fan like myself, who I give so much time and energy to a team that does nothing but let me down. And there's so much that I wish I could really say, but it's so many things for years now. I mean, since the losing Game 7 in 2006, it was heartbreaking. You saw your team this close to a World Series and then they lose. And then 2007, the team was playing well all year and then you collapse in the last month of the season. And then 2008, you get Johan Santana and he's fantastic all season. And then you collapse again at the end and lose in the last game of the season back-to-back years. 2009, The issue in the 2018 was the bullpen, and you signed Francisco Rodriguez. You trade for J.J. Putz, and the bullpen's great, but Jose Reyes gets hurt, Carlos Delgado, Carlos Beltran. Pretty much everything that could go wrong that year went wrong. And then, 2010, we're signing Jason Bay. We're going to get some pop in the outfield. Oh, that went fucking great. And nothing has gone well for this team. And we had a GM before Sandy Alderson that depleted the farm system for players that didn't pan out. And now we have Sandy Alderson increasing the farm system, and he can't spend money because the owners are morons. And I was arguing with a Mets fan recently who was like, oh, well, look, the Mets spent money this offseason. They did not spend money. You're going to tell me because they signed Curtis Granderson, Chris Young, and Bartolo Colon, that's spending money? No. They spent money that came off the books. So they had the Johan Santana and Jason Bay contracts come off the books, which was about a good $70 million. And they had some other contract come off the books too. I mean, we're still paying fucking Bobby Bonilla. And without signing these guys, you'd have a $40 million payroll. What was he going to do? Not spend money? He just spent money that came off the books, and their payroll's still less than last year. Last year, their payroll was $92 million. So, I mean, it's so frustrating. Like, what's going to happen next? The team is just not going to do anything. They're going to have a shit farm system and not spend money. What are we? The Pittsburgh Pirates for years? Like, they're so in between here. You're a New York market. You can't spend New York money. New York markets generally don't have farm systems, and they have one of the 10 best farm systems in all of baseball. I just don't understand No, I mean, I understand. Before I went off on my little tangent, because his team fucking frustrates me so much, I was arguing with the Mets fan who was saying they're going to spend money, and it's not true because the team itself does not have money to spend. The team is hemorrhaging money, and it's not even Bernie Madoff related. They're not getting fans in the seats. They got somewhat fans in the seats last year because they made them deals. Oh, buy a 3-game package and we'll give you a 50% off ticket to the All-Star game at Citi Field, which is great. They don't have the All-Star game this year. So what needs to happen for this team is they need everything in a matter of this year and next year to start breaking in the right way. You need Noah Syndergaard to pan out, Rafael Montero. You need Travis d'Arnaud to play well. You need Harvey to come back well, Wheeler to pitch well. You need all these things where the fans can start getting excited and say, like, fans were showing up last year to see Matt Harvey pitch. He was a star, not just in New York, but globally. People wanted to see this guy pitch. It was like R.A. Dickey the year before, and fans were coming just to see them. Now, if you can get Harvey, Wheeler, Syndergaard in a 1-2-3, that's a lot of people coming. You're going to generate buzz, and then the team makes more money, and then the team can spend money. But that's not happening, and it's not going to happen. 2015 is when I realistically expect this team to be very competitive, and if they are not, I'm going to be severely disappointed, and it means something went horribly wrong, like Generation K with Jason Isringhausen, that kind of wrong. But they're on the fringe. It's just a matter of Sandy can spend a little bit more money, and it could come down to trading. He might have to build the farm system a little more. I mean, I thought the Bartolo Colon signing was brilliant because he's still a very good pitcher. But they have a very good farm system with pitching especially. And what they could do, because it's a 2-year deal, $10 million a year, it's very team friendly. If he has a really good year leading up to the playoffs this year and the Mets are out of it, he could trade him to a team that, needs another pitcher, a proven pitcher down the stretch. And a team might give up a top prospect like the Giants did with, they gave us Zach Wheeler for Carlos Beltran, which was a rental, and they didn't even make the playoffs. So like I said, if everything I think won't go wrong, but I don't think everything's going to go right, obviously. That never happens with the Mets, but with any team, injuries. The one team I've seen in recent years where everything went right was the Red Sox last year, and they won the World Series. The Mets don't even have that luxury. If everything went right, they're still a friggin' 82, 84 win team. So 78, 80, if they somehow were below the 73 wins, I think that Terry Collins has to go and a lot has to change. So... the Mets frustrate me so bad. I'm not even going to be able to sleep tonight just because of how bad they fucking piss me off and make me want to do terrible things to children, animals, disabled people. All the things that brings to mind is genocide. And I'm not a big fan of genocide, but the Mets make me a fan of it and hope it happens. So let me go off. I said I was going to keep it short today. We'll jump right into the Q&A. Next week, I'm probably going to have Josh and my friend Gay Spooner on, talk a little NFL free agency, maybe some Yankees. And if you have a team you want to hear from me, let me know. I'm not going to go as in-depth, but I'll tell you what I think of your baseball team as well. So right into the Q&A. Now that Ronda Rousey and Dong Young Kim have earned vicious knockouts, will they turn into K1 versions of themselves or stay true to their strengths? That's a really good question because you see with a lot of fighters that if they're grappling based, they get one knockout and they get really punch happy and they want to prove their striking. And I really don't expect that to happen, especially if you see with Ronda at least. If you see Ronda, this big fight she's supposed to have, it does end up being Cyborg. Ronda ain't stupid, neither are her coaches. There's no way she's going to try and stand and trade with Cyborg because she'll get her fucking head taken off her shoulders. Now, Dong Young Kim's a little different because he just got 2 very, very brutal knockouts on the feet, one by punch, one by spinning elbow. And Eric Silva, I was about to say, they weren't great fighters. John Hathaway's not a great fighter. Eric Silva's a very, very good young fighter. He's one that you might have to worry about a little bit, but this is so much different for him because he's been a very boring fighter until these last 2 fights. So I wouldn't expect it from him either. They're both judo practitioners, and judo guys generally like to stick to their guns. Who should Daniel Cormier fight next, and is Cyborg coming to the UFC? Cormier is a tough one because, he just fought a bum. He was supposed to fight Rashad, and he fought Patrick Cummins on short notice and destroyed him. I would still like to see the Rashad fight. Maybe even Phil Davis, if Phil Davis wins his next fight, would be very good to gauge him against another wrestler. Rashad probably a little bit better because Rashad is a better striker than Phil. So I would say when Rashad heals up, go with Rashad Evans. And is Cyborg coming to the UFC? there's been all these rumors about a big fight coming up for Ronda Rousey, and some people were saying Gina Carano, which I just can't see because Carano, she can't make 135. She hasn't fought in 5 years, and around the time this whole fight is supposed to happen, she's supposed to be filming the female version of the Expendables. So I'm going to say I think Cyborg is pretty close. Thoughts on Gilbert Melendez and Anthony Pettis. I love the fight. I'm so happy Gilbert Melendez is staying in the UFC and he got the deal he deserved. It's a deal that I want to see more fighters go for. And he does deserve the title shot. I thought he beat Ben Henderson also when he was fighting for the title on Fox. I wish they weren't doing The Ultimate Fighter because who gives a shit about that show. I'd have to favor Gil in this fight. Pettis is so awkward, because he does have very, very good kickboxing and very good grappling, but he doesn't have great wrestling. And Gil has very good boxing as well as very good wrestling and grappling. And cardio, he's proven he can go 5 hard rounds and not get tired. So I think Gil would probably win that one. Thoughts on mixed gender MMA fights? It depends. I mean, I'm for him. I like Ronda Rousey, but she's got to shut her mouth. I mean, she's talking about fighting men. But go ahead, fight a man. I mean, she's 135 pounds. Let's put her in there with Renan Morale and see how it goes for her. I would love to see how that goes for her. So let's make the first super fight, mixed gender, 135 pounds. They want to tell me Ronda Rousey's a pound for pound fighter. Come on. No. I want to see it if she's going to talk like that. And like I said, I'm a fan of hers too. Should the NFL move the extra point to the 25-yard line, making it a 42-yard kick? I think they got to do something to make the extra point a little more interesting. I mean, who sticks around to watch the extra point? Like, no one sits at the edge of their seat waiting to see an extra point happen, or if it doesn't happen, because it almost always does happen. I don't know about the 42. I mean, maybe I like the idea of making the goalpost a little more narrow on an extra point, or just eliminating it together. I think that the stat I saw is that since 2000, 82% of 43-yard field goals were made. Now, if you count ones just from the middle of the field and not the left or right hash, it goes up to 89%. So it's a pretty simple field goal when you think about it. I mean, kicking became such an art that I know a lot of kickers they don't want to see the extra point eliminated at all, but it's such a boring thing. Make the game a little more exciting. I'm down with the 2-point conversion or automatic 7 points. Thoughts on breaking the race barrier in the NHL and who's going to be the first African American to ever play hockey? I'm pretty sure black people have played hockey before, or do they just have a very, very dark tan, or they were in dirt. If I had to guess anyone, I think LeBron James could do it. But like Chris Rock said, the only reason black people haven't taken over hockey yet is because they don't have heated ice rinks. And as soon as you get those, they'll be dominating that too. Very, very similar question. Thoughts on breaking the race barrier? Who's going to be the first white player to play in basketball? Well, I just got done watching the Nets game, and I saw 3 white players. I think they were white. So that one's hard to say. Thoughts on the recent revelation that Larry Bird was part black? That one wouldn't surprise me, but he was such a dorky dude if you ever heard interviews with him. But he was in Space Jam, so something was going on there. Your thoughts on the whole CM Punk situation in the WWE? I've gotten into this one quite a bit. I got the question a few times when it was first going on about him leaving and everything. And I'm a big CM Punk fan. I think he's a great wrestler, great promo guy. He's one of the most entertaining guys they have in the company. But I do have an issue with the fact that he packed his bag and went home. He is under contract. He screws over everyone in the locker room, his friends, his brothers in there. And just because he doesn't like the way something's going to go. And it's unfortunate, really. It's unfortunate for the fans. It's unfortunate for his colleagues. It's unfortunate for himself, too, because I know that during Raw on Monday, WWE was scanning Twitter, and that it did look more like it was more negative reaction towards CM Punk because of the fact that he did leave. It's really not a cool thing to do. I mean, every wrestler, Stone Cold did it, and his colleagues weren't happy with him. You can't have this self-entitled opinion. Now, he is a star. But he is not as valuable as a Stone Cold was or as The Rock was. He wasn't as valuable as The Rock when he came back. And I'm very torn because I do want to see him back as a fan and loving his wrestling and his promos, because it's true that the company is better with him than without, but he is coming off like a diva, a crybaby, because he's not the crossover star that he appears to think he is. So I would like to see it get resolved, but I don't think he's coming back anytime soon. How do gay guys keep poop from falling out of their butts? That's tough, because I would imagine that just like a female, it does get expanded back there. So I would think that things would just fall out. But maybe they have some kind of special like gay underpants that keep it in place. The butt plugs, I think butt plugs might help. So that would be my guess, at least. Next question is, who is the best pure grappler you have ever trained with? There's a lot of them in there. Jim Miller's a fantastic grappler. Marcelo Garcia was probably the best, just brief seminars and rolling and everything, and just the strength and the knowledge and how quick he was. And he was always 3 steps ahead of your next step. And same thing with the Renzo Gracie. I'd probably say Marcelo. Just, he revolutionized the X-Guard. I know who this question's from. Why is Gone Baby Gone so creepy? Gone Baby Gone, you can call it creepy. It's a great movie, but the truth is it's not really creepy. It's kind of the way things are, unfortunately. Kids get kidnapped, kids get murdered, kids get raped, molested, all these tortured. And so is it creepy? Sure. I like to consider myself a little creepier than that. I think that shit's downright horrifying more than creepy. I'm creepy. Dan Colucci's creepy. Matt Spooner's creepy. Taylor Micah sucks. But Gone Baby Gone's just a good movie. But it is fucked up. I'll give you that. How do you think the EA Sports UFC game will be, and how do you think the grappling will be on the game? And there's a follow-up question. I'm really excited for EA UFC. It's got to be better than UFC Undisputed. And EA MMA was phenomenal. The grappling system was okay in it, but the striking system in EA Sports UFC will be really good. If they can get the grappling down, it'll be a phenomenal game. Visually, it already looks fantastic. But like I said, I don't know about the grappling. As far as next question is, what do you think of the new Batman Arkham Knight game, and what are some other games you're looking forward to? I'm extremely excited for Arkham Knight. It is the official sequel to Arkham City. Arkham Origins was by a different developer. Obviously, it's a prequel. This is supposedly going to be the last one in the series. First time you get to drive the Batmobile in the game. I'm really excited. Arkham Asylum and City were 2 of the best games I've played. So if they keep the combat system and add a few more things, it'll be fantastic. And the map is supposed to be even bigger, which is crazy to think of. Other games I'm looking forward to, Dying Light on the PS4 next month will be awesome. MLB The Show will take up most of my time, though. MLB The Show 14, when that drops in May on the PS4. What are your predictions on UFC Fight Night London? I know Alexander Gustafsson is fighting Jimmy Manoa. Gustafsson should win. I haven't seen enough of Jimmy where I think he could win. Gustafsson had a great fight against John Jones. A lot of people thought he won. And if he loses, it would be a huge upset. And I guess the co-main event, looking at it, is Melvin Guillard and Michael Johnson. I like Johnson. He seems to be getting it together. I don't think he'll ever be a champion or a contender, but he's got very quick hands, not as fast as Melvin, but a better technique than Melvin. He just has to avoid the power and hit that glass jaw that Melvin Guillard has. If you could be any character from Mrs. Doubtfire, who would you be? I mean, I don't know. I mean, what are the characters' names besides? I would be the little girl. Because she did cool shit in Matilda, and she did like nothing after that. So I'd be her, I guess. And I mean, the other two, like, the son walked in on his mom or dad or whatever peeing, but he was a woman, and the daughter just had weird, gross hair that looked like straw. So I'd be the little girl. Or Sally Field. She was Forrest Gump's mom. Another Mrs. Doubtfire question. Do you think the bus driver from Mrs. Doubtfire knew that it was really Robin Williams, or did he think it was a lady? Maybe. He said he likes the hairy leg thing. I mean, I've dressed like a woman before when I was younger for like a lip sync contest. I mean, if I did it now, I have such hairy fucking legs and ridiculous body hair. Like, I'm a fucking gorilla. He'd be really into me, but I'm not putting out. I'm a classy bro. You got to work for me. I think he thought it was a lady, but he just thought it was like a very French woman or just very unkept, and maybe he likes a woman with a fucking bush like a porcupine. All right, I don't know how I'm going to answer this one. Please elaborate on the finer points of the liberal news media. The finer points the liberal news media neglects when discussing the fiscal cliff. I'll be honest with you. I used to really keep up with politics when I was younger, and most people, it's the opposite. They get into it when they're older, and I'm so disgusted with everything. I don't even know what, I can legitimately tell you I am ignorant, and I don't know what the fiscal cliff is, and I can honestly tell you that I don't care. I didn't vote for Obama or Romney. I voted Libertarian, and I probably won't vote for a Republican or a Democrat next time around either. So I know who sent me this question, and I love you, but you are a fucking degenerate piece of shit who gave me a question that you knew I couldn't answer because you fucking live in Detroit, which fucking is like the worst economy in the country, and you're just, the only reason you're happy is because you got like 40 fast food places in a 2-mile radius, and you probably put half of them in business. I do love you though, and I'm glad you've decided to straighten things out in your life. And once again, I love you, Steve. Now, next question is God's honest review of 12 Years a Slave, which did just win Best Picture at the Academy Awards. I only just watched 12 Years a Slave recently, and I was I knew it was going to be a good movie. The cast is phenomenal. You have Chitwell, Ejiofor, however you pronounce his name, the black woman that Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie adopted that won Best Supporting Actress. You had Michael Fassbender, who is quickly becoming one of my favorite actors, and Brad Pitt. My issue with it was you had a black guy directing a movie about slavery, which he's obviously going to be a little more slanted, but not even just a black guy. It was an English guy, not someone that knows American history better, that English people have always been slanted towards, white guilt and things like that. But Steve McQueen is a very, very good director, and the thing he does very well is filming very much in the moment of a movie and giving you that feel of the characters and making it feel very real when you're there. And this movie was extremely powerful. And despite if you're racist, not racist, whatever, it was an emotionally gripping movie with ridiculously good performances all around. A lot of people are saying Leo deserved Best Actor. I do think Matthew McConaughey deserved it, but I think that Leo was probably third in line, even to Chitwell, who was ridiculous in 12 Years a Slave. He was incredible. It is an excellent, excellent movie, but I honestly can say it's something I want in my collection because I was very moved. It was a very powerful movie, and I was moved by it. But I honestly don't know how many times I could watch it because it was a deeply disturbing movie. Very messed up, but very, very good. So I haven't met anyone yet that said they disliked it, and it did deserve Best Picture. What is the possibility the Tampa Bay Buccaneers trade Revis, and if so, where does he go? I'd say slim to none. I know that they took calls because if someone bowled them over and was like, we'll give you our first round, second round, third round picks for the next 3 years, I would take that. I'd trade my best player, barring like Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. But I can't see Lovie Smith in his first year trying to trade away a corner that fits his defensive philosophies perfectly. And I really can't see that happening. Next year, maybe, not this year. What do you think about the second Sin City coming out in August? Well, I honestly didn't even know it was coming out in August. This is actually a sequel I can get excited for. The first Sin City was awesome, highly underrated, or underappreciated, I'll say. And it's something that should have a sequel, unlike this 300 sequel that's coming out. So yeah, I'm really excited for it. I'm very interested to see what they do with it. Is it gay to use the homo butthole fleshlights even though fleshlight review boards say they are the best? Well, here's the thing. Who's reviewing it? Is it gay guys or straight guys reviewing it? If it's straight guys reviewing it saying the best, I don't see what's really gay about it. I mean, it's not like you have to kiss it or anything. I mean, you're just using it as a fleshlight. I mean, I've never used a fleshlight, but if someone told me this one is the best, but it is a replica of Chewbacca's asshole, I'd take it. If it tells me it's the best, I mean, doesn't matter. So no, it's not gay. Unless you really like get into guys' buttholes after that, which that's gay. Oprah, Ricky Lake, Star Jones. Fuck, marry, kill. Marry Oprah, money. Fuck Ricky Lake, kill Star Jones. I honestly don't even know who Star Jones is. But with a name like Starr, I definitely want to kill her. And the last question is, do the Cowboys cut DeMarcus Ware or restructure his contract? That's tough. They're still in a pretty tight cap situation. They just restructured Tony Romo. I think DeMarcus Ware is very hesitant to restructure his contract coming off a down year. He's had injuries the last couple years. Hasn't looked like the same dominant pass rusher. I think they're going to cut him. I really do. I mean, you never really know with Jerry Jones. They could still cut Miles Austin also and save some money, who he's been worse than DeMarcus Ware. I think they're going to cut him. I think they should too. I think he's at the end of the road, and they would save quite a bit of money. So, like I told you guys, keep it short and sweet. Only went about 35 minutes today. Next week, like I said, I will have Josh and Spooner with me. We'll go a little bit into NFL free agency. I'll have a free agents list. And as far as baseball, if you have a team you want me to talk about, in football, if you have a team you want me to talk about free agency-wise, let me know. Shoot me messages, questions. I do appreciate all of you listening. Next week, we'll be back on somewhat of a normal schedule and see where we can go with it. Otherwise, thank you for listening. Retweet, share, whatever you can do for me. Appreciate it, guys.